Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies market commentary for, well, Dog Day. I don't know if you can see the dogs in the background, but it is the National Dog Day, so got the dogs in the shot here. Anyway, it is Monday, August the 26th. My name's Eric Wilkinson. Yeah, you might recognize me as the Wolfman, but I'm here to teach you guys some different option strategies you can implement into your portfolios. And please do that in your own way. Remember, past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, having that out of the way, let's get it on with economic data. Usually on a Monday, we don't get any economic data, but today is a little bit different. We get core durable goods, and that came in at negative 0.4%, expected to be a positive 0.2%. They did revise last month's number down also by 0.2%, down to 1%. Now remember, core durable goods excludes transportation, so that's going to exclude airlines, cars, and stuff like that. Well, when we put that back into the overall data point, we get durable goods coming in at 2.1%. That's actually pretty good. I wouldn't expect really to see a lot of automobiles and airlines really moving that number, but it made it 2.1%, expected to be 1.4%. So that's actually really a refreshing data point because of those big automobiles and stuff like that. Well, I was expecting those. If we're starting to see a recession, people are going to pull back on buying some of those type of assets, if you will. Anyway, let's move on to the overall markets. We've got crude oil cruising a little bit higher today, right there at around $55 a barrel, which is where we've talked about. It is the sweet spot, somewhere below 60, somewhere above 50. I think that's going to be where oil starts kind of hanging out until we get a real discernible direction as to what's going on in the overall economy. And then we move over to gold. Gold futures looking like they're looking a little bit toppy. I've said that too many times before. I think that's why I'm not going to add gold at this point. I'm dying to short it, but I think that it might be a little bit too early. Maybe even wait for a confirmation to the downside, which might happen tomorrow, depending on how this chart obviously starts to set up. And then we've got bonds. They're coming off a little bit from where we saw earlier this morning. Now overnight we saw the equities down quite a bit. That was giving a lift to the bonds, just a flight to safety. But then as soon as the market started to open or coming into today, we started seeing a reversal of that. And most of that coming off of some tweets out of Trump saying that he wants to get back to the bargaining table with China on these tariffs, because a lot of these tariffs are coming in on December 15th. But ahead of that, China started talking about raising their tariffs on us quite dramatically. And then, Friday, Trump saying that businesses need to stop relying on China. All of those things have been market movers in the equities. As we get over to the equities, we can see that the VIX is moving a little bit higher, back into those 20s again, pretty solidly. That is because there's some fear in the overall markets. Now we look over at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's up 200 points on the day. You wouldn't expect necessarily to see VIX going higher on this, but we are seeing that, we can see even on what we talked about in the webinar on Friday, you can see VIX really start to spike. Even if we start getting a move higher, it's just a product of people buying either calls, but generally puts. But we could see it actually start to spike off of that call buying. And then we move over to the NASDAQ. It is up 43 points. You can see well off the lows that we saw overnight. Again, we haven't moved anywhere, despite the fact that we are seeing these massive moves in the NASDAQ. 100 points these days doesn't seem like a big move in the NASDAQ, where you can see in the past a 100-point move in the NASDAQ was pretty dramatic. All of this has to do around the trade tensions that we're seeing in China, and some people speculating that the economy is not doing too well. Well, we just saw on those durable goods orders, the economy is actually doing okay with the buying pressure from the retail investor. Here again with the E-mini S&Ps, you can see up 11 points, but again, not really going anywhere despite the fact that we've had these big fluctuations in the equities. Just right back to the point of control, as you can see here, and you can see that support resistance line on this 38 Fibonacci extension that we have has acted as support. We opened up just slightly below that, again slammed down, but have seen some reprieve coming into today. And this is what I was talking about. This is the overnight trade. Sunday night gapped lower, and that created that candle that we're seeing where we saw those lows right there at around 28.10. Now coming into today, market getting very long overnight. A little bit of an attempt to flush those guys out, but you can see as the day session is moving forward, we are starting to see some buying pressure coming in. Now with that being said, I've added some Johnson & Johnson. I think that even if the economy is doing or is a little bit shaky, I think that we could really see some of these staple type of companies hold on to some of their value. And I think that Johnson & Johnson is a little overdone to the downside. They're not going anywhere, you guys. So we've got high volatility, almost at 100% here in Johnson & Johnson. That gives us the opportunity to sell premium when it is at its most inflated, if you will. So with no earnings in sight in and around this strategy, just a couple of 28 days to go in the cycle here for the expiration, I decided to take advantage of some of that, and we went into Johnson & Johnson and sold some puts. And I sold those September 119 puts in there, and I was able to collect $1.57. That being said, it gets me below this 23 Fibonacci. I don't think we're even going to go down there to test it. As you can see, as the last time we came down there wasn't a whole lot of volume going on down there. The market snapped back. That drives it back towards the point of control, as you can see here. Again, I think that we're going to see a little bit of a bottoming happen here. I'm a little bit early. I haven't waited for a confirmation on this, but I wanted to get in with this high implied volatility in and around Johnson & Johnson, and I'm going to play that to the upside. And that's about it. That's the only thing I've done. I'm keeping an eye on this Yum Brands. I played this with the long butterfly, expecting it to break out of this tight little range here as we had been in there for several weeks. I'm expecting a bit of a move, but started to get that today, revert right back. So this trade isn't looking too great right now, but again, we are looking for a big move in Yum Brands. I think that there's some good news coming out even with this Beyond Meat or all of this plant-based product meats that we're seeing coming into markets with these fast food chains. The Impossible Burger from Burger King. Now we're seeing the same type of situation come in with KFC. KFC wants to create a chicken nugget with this plant-based product, and all of those things being equal, I think that is going to be a new driving force in some of these fast food chains, and Yum Brands is a very fast food chain oriented company. So still playing that one. It's not, like I said, going anywhere, as the broader markets aren't really going anywhere, but we've set ourselves up for success with this trade. Got in with the correct volatility, the correct timing, and we just need to have the market follow through with our assumption. I don't know if it's going to go up or down, but I expect a bigger move happening rather than being stuck in this little tight range. And that's about it. That's the only thing I've really looked at so far today. Trying to find something with the high implied volatility we're seeing going on in and around the markets, but there's nothing really making me jump out of my chair to get into other than that Johnson & Johnson. So I'm going to keep looking throughout the day, find something in the tea leaves to take advantage of some of this high implied volatility, because when it's high, we need to take advantage of it, all right? And that's about all I got for you guys. Give your dog or maybe a cat, because we gotta support everybody, right? But happy National Dog Day to you guys, and if you can't take that, take it easy.